Hello everyone and welcome to a bit of a impromptu but I thought quite a good video. I say good, I don't know, just to keep you up to date on where I am with debt, because I know I do almost like a weekly check-in with my debt, because I have my sinking funds trackers for the various credit cards I've got. But I'm going to make a slight change to these because of one of the cards basically not expiring, but it gets to its goal end date, and I thought it'd also be good to get this up to date. I started to do it and I thought, oh, you know what, I'll get it up to date on camera and then just go through, I just thought it was quite useful to go through how I work out like my debt payments and how I go through them and how I sort of worked out my priority on them, and also get your guys' opinion on it. I don't know, I just thought it might be a reasonably good video. So I inadvertently started colouring this one in before I was like, actually, it might be nice to do it on thingy. But anyway, so my virgin blue is currently at 4,090. So what I've done is I've coloured in a few more here. So each of these is £50, these bricks. So 4,090 is pretty much 4,100, so I've left that at that. My Tesco is now at 190, which means I can colour in everything other than the bottom row, which is really nice and satisfying. So we're so close there with this Tesco one, which is really good to know. And then my virgin pink is at 5,370. So 5,000, 100, 200, 350, 70. So I think I'm just going to do these top rows here with it. This is from my leftover, this is what I had in my old binder, but I do like to still keep it on up to date and keep a track of the progress. And also I think I love a chart. I don't know about you. My boss calls it gamifying stuff. He's like, oh, honestly, when you gamify stuff in like visuals, it makes it really easy. Sorry, I don't know why I'm now rehashing this. But I know exactly what it means. It just visually, you can just see it go down and it's really satisfying. Right, so they're all coloured in. So I'll move this out of the way. So in terms of debt, I think what you see weekly is these three trackers. So I've got my Tesco 2, which is my priority. I have my Virgin Blue card and I also have my Virgin Pink card. Now, because of the balance amount left on these cards, I'm prioritising paying off my Virgin Blue first because it was the smallest one and the interest was going to hit sooner. Then again, using the avalanche snowball method, this was the next smallest one, and again the goal end date, i.e. when this finishes its 0% balance transfer offer, again comes up sooner, so that's my next priority. And this one, although the balance transfer figure was going to end, I think, slightly sooner than this one, because the amount was so big on it initially, I knew I was never going to get it paid, so I sort of resigned myself to the fact that this one I need to do one more transfer, but then this could be the last one, and then because it was the biggest amount, I'd leave it. And I mean, I say leave it, I'm still paying it down, but I'm only doing the minimum payment. And then this could finally get paid off. Because I'd then need to transfer it. So with that in mind, I've gone online, looked at the best balance transfer rates, and I have decided to go back with MBNA. So this will then essentially take over from this card. So already you can see it's already gone down in balance. So I have paid off £500 in just payments, which is really good news. But as of this month, I will retire this card and start working on this MBNA tracker. So these are the remaining debts I then have. Obviously, I've not got this amount left on my debts. As you can see, I've obviously got my tracker and it's been paying off, but I just wanted to give a bit of an update of where I am on my debt. Brill. So that's in terms of updates of trackers, in case you see them and you're like, oh my god, I just got more debt. I haven't, it's just shifted. And I used to just keep on getting balance transfer cards and keep on shifting it around the place. And then I realised I'm not actually paying these off. So I now have a plan in place to pay them off. So moving on to that. Now, apologies, this one, it printed in A3 because I'm just used to printing drawings at work. And then two, it didn't do it in colour, which is a little bit annoying because it looks better in colour because I've got like a bit of a rag status going on to the right. So all I've got here, and again, this might be too many numbers, but I quite like the look of it. Hopefully you can see it. Let me just try and zoom in a little bit. cool. So what I did at the, I say beginning of the year, it was September 24 when I properly looked at my accounts. Here, if I shift it to the side, because you don't need this one for the minute currently. So I've got my Virgin Blue card here, my Tesco 2 and my Virgin Pink. And I knew I had £2,600 remaining on this, £5,930 on this one, and £4,550 remaining at that point in time on them. So basically I looked at when the goal end dates were, so inputted that into my Excel, and then worked out from that month how many months there were to pay it off. And all I did was a little bit of a formula that said, okay, if I've got this much and these many months, how much do I need to pay that month? So as you can see here, this one's a really easy one to show. So it's £2,600, 10 months, so I need to pay £260 off a month in order to pay it down by the goal end date, which is the 29th of the 7th. So that's July. So you can see here in July it goes, you know, it glitches up basically, because that's when it needs to be paid. So similar, did it for this one, Virgin Pink. So you can see here I only had 9 months to pay this one off, £5,930. So it was saying if you pay off £600 and essentially £60 a month, you would have paid that all off. Then what I did is I worked this formula through that basically said, okay, but if I don't pay this off, if I actually only put in this amount, what's left? And then it divides it by the month. So it basically gave me a rolling total. So you can see here, because it was saying I had to pay £658.89 off a month in order to get it paid, and I only paid off £70, the next month rolled over and said, well, now you need to pay £732 a month. And then again, only paid the 70, so it's like, right now you need to pay £827 a month. So you can see how it works through. And then obviously on the end month, it's like, right now you need to pay £5,370 a month. So all I paid here was over the minimum payments. I think the minimum payment initially up here was like £65. So I rounded up and set my direct debit to £70, knowing the minimum payment would go down, but my fixed amount would stay the same. So I knew I was paying the £70 a month off, so ever so more than the minimum payment. But like I say, this is at 0%, so that £70 was actually coming off the debt. Similar with this one here with my Tesco 2. So you can see here it was saying £260 a month. And this is what I actually paid. So in the month of September, October, November, I did pay that £260 off. In this month in December, I only put £230 off. But in January, when I had a, like with Christmas money and stuff, I managed to pay off £830. So bear in mind, the £30 already is like the minimum payment, and then anything extra over from £30 was additional payment to the credit card. So when I go through my budget, let me get the budget page up. Here is my minimum payment I pay towards my debt, and then anything extra over here, debt EO payment, is additional. So I'm not sure if you can see it because I've not got my finger on it. So here it's £130. So this month, for instance, which was May, so I go over to May, I wanted to put in, originally I said it only needs to be 100, and I've actually said no, it's going to be 160. So partly that's because I've got £30 coming out of this one as a direct debit payment, and then I'm saying I want to pay an additional £70 to this debt, so that's £70 being on Tesco, and then I've said, and then I'm going to pay an additional £60 because £50 minimum payment is going to go on my Virgin Blue to start paying that one off. I could have done, and I probably should have done, where I just get this one paid off earlier, and then pay more onto this one. So what you can see is here, all the way through I'm paying minimum payments. Oh, she says not putting it in camera. These ones I've just paid minimum payments all the way through, so no changes in these ones up to this point. And I also dropped how much I was paying basically because we've got our wedding in October, so I'm putting quite a lot towards our October wedding, I think £400 a month. So I was like, I'm definitely not putting as much into debt. But I worked out whether I could do that or not, and it actually worked out okay. So the plan is minimum payments up until basically this month, and then this month I've pretty much finished paying off the Tesco. I've got £290 I think left to pay. No, sorry, £190 left to pay. on my Tesco too, and then everything else is going to go onto my Virgin Blue. So using the avalanche method, then you can see here that the payments go up. So come October, it goes from £200 a month, and then it jumps to £300 all the way through. And as you can see, given the forecast date, I'm actually overpaying here. So it's saying to get paid off in time, you need to put £292.73 in per month, and I'm actually putting 300. And then because I'm overpaying, it's saying it's dropping it. So by June, I've dropped my payment from £300 a month to the £280, and then I paid the £280 all the way through. And then again, by my goal end date in October, this one will be fully paid off. Then you can see I then shift over. So if I follow this line through, you'll see this one is being paid as a minimum payment, and then the next month that additional money is then going into this card. So again, you can see it's saying, okay, if you put in £273, you'll pay it off in time, and I'm actually overpaying and putting £350 in. You can see it follows all the way through, and then essentially what this is saying is you're paying this off early, so this bracketed is a negative figure. So by October 27, I will have fully paid off this credit card as well. So all my debt should be fully paid off by the end of 2027. So the only change I probably need to explain is here. So this is where my Virgin Pink card is. It comes to fruition in terms of goal end date, the end of May. So what I've done is I've then worked out, okay, with the balance transfer, which I'm doing, which is my MBNA card, it charges me 3.2% transfer fee. So I've taken the, I think it's actually, this is worked out on the £5,370, because originally I put the card application in sooner. So I think it's going to be this amount, not this amount. Let me just double check that before I'm telling you twaddle. So £5,370 times 1.032, because it's a 3.2% transfer fee, is 5541.84. And then I've said other than this month, what have I said? So then, because it's a 32-month transfer card, oh sorry, again I'm too zoomed in. Because it's a 32-month transfer card, I've got 32 months to pay back this figure. So again, it's done this value divided by 32. So it's saying if you pay off £173.18 a month, you'll get it fully paid. This month this month, it would be the month of June. I'm going to do slightly more, only because it just makes it a round number, so it makes it easier on the tracker. So I think when I've set up the tracker, she says completely losing where the tracker is. What number have I put in? I've said, I'm rounded up and said, okay, £5,500. So when I initially do that transfer, I'm going to put in £41.84 over and just round it down to 5,500, and that's when I can start this tracker again, basically. Make it nice round numbers. I'm going to zoom out ever so slightly because you've seen the detail now. And then all this does is totals my debt. So this tots up everything I've paid. So I've obviously, in this month, I've paid £70 minimum payment, £50 minimum payment, the £30 minimum payment, plus the £230 extra overpayment. And this came to £380. You can see I had a big payment in December, so that came to £950. And basically, you can't see because of the colour, but this was like flagging red to say this is a lot of money. And then you can see how I've dropped it by £100 this year, basically up to October for the wedding, so I can put that additional money into the wedding. And it sort of gives me a bit of a rag statement on roughly how much I'm paying in debt. So you can see over this whole span, I'm pretty much putting away £370, £350 roughly to debt every month. So yeah, it's quite a lot. But it's nice to know that I've got essentially £370 surplus, so when the debt's finished, I can just put that to other stuff. And it's also like, it's bad, but this is like money, I won't say I don't need, but it's money that I've already put and allocated somewhere. So it just means that like when the debt is paid, this £370 should theoretically be able to go to like emergency fund or investments. And like I've worked my budget without this £370. So as a result, I don't want like to creep into needing that £370, if that makes sense. The only other thing I've also added in here is mum and dad. So come October, after I've finished paying for the wedding, I'm gonna start transferring £145 a month in to pay my mum and dad off. So hopefully by December next year, just before Christmas, I can give them a cheque of £2,000 and say, that's me all paid up. So that will then be like all the debt I've had or owe people will be fully paid at that point. So that would be really nice. I dabbled around with some numbers for investments as well to be like, can I start investing sooner with a bit more money? But I thought, you know what, let's just get it fully paid off. So yeah, that's how I've worked out my debt. I would show you on the Excel, but I just thought it was easier to point out because I can never like record the screen very well. But yeah, I just needed to see visibility in terms of if I'm like holding off this payment, how much do I then need to pay off when I do start paying it. But you can see here, this is quite a comfortable amount in terms of, you know, even that I'm only doing the minimum payment up until this point, even here, I'll be overpaying quite a lot. So it just means, you know, I am hitting this debt and it will go down. And by 2027, it'll be really nice to say I'll be debt free. And not only will I be debt free, I think with the £50 a month I'm putting towards my emergency fund anyway, and bear in mind I'm putting £400 a month into wedding now. By October, like that money, I'm only going up £100 really in debt payments. So I've got £300 to play with, hence why I've said, okay, I'm going to do £145 for my parents. I've got another £150 then I can put towards emergency fund. So again, by December 27, debt will be fully paid, emergency fund will be fully funded, hopefully with, I'm sure I've got a forecast on that, but with the £6,000, which will cover 3 months fixed expenses. And then it just means that then everything, like I say, this money, this £350 can go to stuff that we like properly need. So like £350 a month, you know, to put towards like a holiday or something will be amazing. So yeah, this is sort of what me and my partner looked at when we did our like 5-year plan. I sort of showed him this forecast and said, okay, by 2027, like we'll be out of debt, but like who's to say by like 2026 we won't start having kids, for instance, or other stuff. So yeah, like all this money we can start to plan our future a bit better and be like, cool, what do we need to save up for? And the things we said were new house potentially, because he wants to save money, because I bought this house in 2018 with a mortgage, but and I think he, like, obviously when we're married it becomes his anyway, but as in he was like, oh no, I want to put money towards it. So he wants to save as well, so similar to what I'm doing with my debt, he's doing with the savings account. So again, by 2027 we'll hopefully be in a position that, you know, we've got our sinking funds fully funded, our debt's paid off, and we'll just be a bit more, you know, hopefully, touch wood, enjoying life. Not that we're not enjoying it now, but you know what I mean, as in it's a big weight to hold over us. And although it's like very managed, and actually like seeing this like this is, I find it really calming. Like initially when I was like going through all my debt, it was really stressful and it was panicking me, but I think sometimes just writing it down is really nice, and like looking at the numbers is actually, it calms me a lot more. Yeah, so that's it really, but I just thought it'd be quite a useful thing to, you know, a tool to show how I've gone about doing it. And, you know, like every month I'm not just making up the number I'm putting towards debt, like I've really thought it through in terms of like my budget, what I can afford, what's pragmatic, what's reasonable, what, you know, if I'm reducing debt one month, what the effect of that is having on the next month. So I'm not just, you know, being like, oh, you know, because originally in this year I was like, I'm going to really have to reduce, you know, and I was going to just do minimum payments on my Tesco, but I thought, no, I'm going to carry paying it off because it's just going to drag on if not, and we can still afford it, and we can still make those payments. It just means that these ones might be delayed ever so more. So like I always knew I'm going to have to do a transfer in that, and this transfer is costing me essentially, you know, £140 to do it, but at least then it gives us that flexibility, you know, to be able to pay off my mum as well, and to be able to fully fund the emergency fund. So that £150 is essentially buying me that like bit of extra freedom to do that. So yeah, 100% makes a lot more sense, and obviously it's a lot more, it works out beneficial a lot more than the 20% or 20, you know, 8% it'll be charging me a month on that. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. Sorry I've rattled on and gone through numbers, and it might be a bit of a heavy video, but I just thought it was quite a good one, just showing, you know, where it all comes from. And also I wanted to introduce you to my new tracker. So yeah, you'll be seeing this in my cash stuffing videos. Anyway, speaking of, I'm going to film that next. So I'll catch up with you for week 1 cash stuffing. Bye.